For someone in the business of judging whether an idea will soar like the sweet tones of Bieber's voice or sink like Nortel's stock, retro joke.
You made a huge mistake as far as I'm concerned.
There was a time when you might not have banked on Arlene Dickinson. Married at 19, Arlene had 4 kids by the time she was 27, divorced at 31. The divorce got her excommunicated from the Mormon church. But worse for Arlene, the family court judge told her she would lose custody of her kids until she could prove she had the resources to look after them. Suddenly, Arlene wasn't just looking for work, she was on a mission, and woo, did she pull it off. Today, she's the head of Venture Communications. It's a marketing company based in Calgary, now worth an estimated $80 million. She's one of the country's most powerful business leaders. So how did she pull it off? Well, the secret may lie in the title of her book. It's called Persuasion, a guide to how you can influence people, not just in business, but in everyday life. And she's also got a new show, take that, O'Leary, The Big Decision. It follows Arlene and fellow dragon Jim Treliving as they debate whether or not to help struggling Canadian business owners keep their companies afloat.
These decisions are incredibly hard to make. There's people behind these businesses who have given their life and their energy and their hopes and their efforts towards building a dream.
How are you?
I'm good.
It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Any truth to the rumor that Kevin got his own show and you're like, screw that, I want one too?
I did, actually. Yeah. I said, wait a minute, if the mean guy can get one, the nice girl should be able to have one.
It's a great concept, the idea of stepping into these companies and saying, can you save them or not? Because I imagine this is even more emotional than even Dragon's Den would be, because you get really inside these people's lives.
You know what, you really do. You get so emotionally connected with the businesses. I mean, you're talking to these people, this is their lives, they've invested everything they have emotionally and financially. It's a big deal.
We live in this culture now where we hear so much about the fact that this is the first generation that's going to have a lower standard of living than our parents. What happened?
I think it's a really complicated thing, George. I think the financial markets across the globe are to blame in many respects. We had high expectations. You know, people thought they should make 30, 40, 50, even more % in terms of the return. I mean, that's ridiculous. You know, what happened to just, you know, that old compound interest working slowly away?
Well, is it sort of an indictment on the system, though, that
Sure.
that whatever version of capitalism everybody's been really supporting over the years, maybe it doesn't work the way people said it would?
You know, I was talking about this just the other day. Somebody said to me, is it capitalism that's wrong? And I actually don't think it's capitalism that's wrong. It's the form of capitalism that's wrong. You know, there's capitalism that has a heart and a soul and cares about, has a social conscience and thinks about it.
We don't see that at government, so we don't really see that with business. We see shareholder capitalism, which is how can I increase the return on my investment. That's what we actually have, though, isn't it?
Yes, I think we do have that in government for sure. I would say that in business it's changing. I have full hope that there is a new type of business that's being formed and formulated by the next generation that has that triple bottom line mentality that says you have to do what's right financially, for the planet, for the people, and for the profit side. So I think that that's changing, and I am hopeful that people are starting to think differently about what success looks like.
What's the practical job recovery? Because that's what this comes down to. People need jobs.
They do. I mean, innovation is going to be at the center of it, right? If this country doesn't start reinvesting in innovation and looking for people with ideas. And I got to say, I really get upset when people slam RIM. That's a great example. You know, everybody talks about, oh, it's a terrible thing and iPhone's cool and all those things. But this is a Canadian company. It's actually financially quite strong. You know, I mean, there's lots of challenges, yes. It doesn't have the product that does all these things, but it's the most secure system in the globe. And why don't we support it? It's Canadian.
Is it partly because the financial sector, the business world, has kind of entered the realm of sports, in that it's become television? And it's about 24-hour channels that cover it. It's about headlines. It's about zingers. It's about personality over what's really happening behind the scenes. As the economy was collapsing, we saw it turn into this real Dr. Doom kind of world. And then you had what's that guy's name? Kramer.
Oh, yeah.
The madness of that show, right?
Kevin's uncle.
Yeah, Kevin's uncle, right. Like,
I'm sure they're related. I'm pretty darn sure.
Like, hey, 200,000 people lost their jobs. Right? It's that kind of insanity that this is just the language that people use now when it comes to the business.
I keep coming back to the people I'm talking to now. The new business that's evolving is different. I think it's different for a whole bunch of reasons. And, you know, the reason Occupy movements exist is because the people are sick of it, right? It has to change.
Is that one reason why Big Decision is so interesting to you? The fact that you can instill not just... Because Dragon's Den, a lot of the conversation is about, is this a viable business? Can I make money? But in this situation, you get to see the more emotional side of it and actually find out the other layers that a business can provide a community?
It's so different, and is exactly that's compelling to me, because you really do get involved. I mean, my business, you know, venture is all about marketing, right? And I spent my whole life talking to people who are trying to build their businesses and figuring out what's right and wrong with their business. So being able to get inside a company and understand what's driving the entrepreneur and what the mistakes are and really help them, it's so compelling. And we have found some incredible businesses in this country through this show. It's been rewarding, it's been heartbreaking, because sometimes we've had to say no.
Yeah, tell me about that, just because I know that you're a compassionate...
You're going to say softy.
Well, you're not a softy. You're what I like to call a developed human being, right?
Oh,
like, yeah,
I like that better.
Yeah, you have multiple sides of your personality. And I know that when Kevin says no, like he said, I mean, I think he's probably got a heart in there somewhere, but when he says no, it's no. I bet you when you say no, it sucks for you.
When I say no, I try to say it with compassion. I try to say it because I've thought about it with my heart. I mean, I always say to people, you know, when I make business decisions, I do feel with my heart, but I think with my head. And I don't think I make no excuse for being emotional in business. Business is emotional. You know, if you're not emotionally engaged with the business you work for or that you're building, then what the heck are you doing every day? Why are you doing it?
Right.
Yeah. So
I hear a lot of people talk about, you know, hard work, and I get that's important, but lots of people work hard and don't get the breaks. So I wondered, in business, what role does luck play in all this?
it plays a lot of role. I mean, you know, although all those sayings, you know, if it wasn't for hard work, I wouldn't have any luck.
Right.
Sometimes you're just in the right place at the right time, and somebody recognizes something in you that somebody else didn't see, and that's fortunate. And if you misspend that, if you take advantage of that and don't say, you know what, how lucky am I better make this and parlay this into something better and pay it forward, then shame on you.
How interesting is it for you, just in your head, do you take time to reflect that it wasn't that long ago when a judge says to you, if you want to keep your kids, you have to provide? Like, that's a really, what a switch.
It sits right here with me every day.
Really?
Every day.
What do you take from it?
That the things that really matter can be taken away from you faster than you could understand. That money is only good for the happiness it can and the freedom it brings you. That it doesn't bring you happiness, sorry. What it does is give you freedom. And freedom to be able to do the things that matter. And if those things for me are with my kids, then that's what matters to me. But I'll tell you what, George, when the judge said that to me, I just thought I'd lose it. I just thought, you know, this is the end of my world. And I could do one of two things. I could accept that, or I could, you know, fight and do what I've done. And it was the best motivator in the world for me, my kids, right?